Hello everyone and welcome back to Scandinavian Design 101. I'm Sanna.
I'm Andreas and we're two Swedes and we love design. In this video we're going to show you some classic Scandinavian interiors.
Are they classic?
I think many of you have seen them, some of you haven't, but we will show you a lot of pictures. And we hope they can inspire you when decorating your own homes. You don't have to do like this, but some small things can be inspiring. Yeah.
In 1937, Poul Henningsen designed a home for himself and his wife. It was designed in collaboration with the architect Viggo Møller Jensen and built in the Copenhagen suburb of Gentofte. The couple lived there a few years until they got divorced in 1942, and it was built on a slope, and the floor had 7 different levels with short stairs in between.
Yeah.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to tell you the furniture seen here so you can identify them and Google on them.
There was a dining table and cabinet by Poul himself, Prague dining chairs by Josef Hoffman for Tonett, 3-shade pendant and PH globe by Henningsen himself, Fåborg chair by Kåre Klint for Rud Rasmussen.
Yeah, and then we're going to comment, and you can see these interiors behind us, but this is just a green screen for us, so we have printed some pictures of it, so let's comment.
Yeah.
And I chose this interior, and I did it because it's interesting for many reasons. Because it's not that fascinating, I think, but it's an early interior and it's very clean. It's not overcrowded by furniture, so that's why I think it's interesting.
Isn't it kind of boring?
It is kind of boring, but compared to other interiors at the same time,
I get it.
It's really different.
Mid-century.
Yeah.
Early.
It's not very good for for older people to live in, for example, because it stairs everywhere.
And it has a monstera.
Yeah, it has.
I like that.
And one thing I think is quite interesting is that Henningsen had a Fåborg chair, or several Fåborg chairs. And that's strange, because he actually mocked the Fåborg chair. He called it like 4 times as heavy and just half as beautiful as the Tonett chair. So that's strange.
But he did have Tonett chairs.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So he had both.
and it's a legendary picture, this with the dining set, because he used it when marketing the PH lamps. So many of you have seen this interior, but in some old catalogs for Louise Paulsen and so on. Yeah.
The lamp hangs really, really low over the table.
Yes, it does. It does.
If you're tall, it's gonna block.
And I'm not even sure if you see the person sitting.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's gonna block if you're.
Yeah.
Kind of strange, but
okay. And he only lived there for a few years. But today, yet again, this home is open to the public. It's a museum.
Nice.
So it's preserved.
We should go there.
Yeah.
Next
to the glassworks in the small Swedish community Costa, a Rue House was built in 1956 to be used as living quarters for some of the more prominent employees. And the designer behind this highly modernist building was no one less than Bruno Mathsson, an architect known not least for his many bentwood chairs. The facade was characterized by huge windows made from isolated glass, and the floors covered with small glass tiles had integrated floor heating. Very innovative.
Yeah.
And now let's take a look at the wonderful interior as it looked in 1956. And in the living room, one can see easy chairs BO90 by Arne for Bovirke. It's a coffee table with a strange name. It's just numbered 579-0557. It's by David Rosén for NK with the tabletop by Stig Lindberg. It's a classic table and beautiful table. And the sofas are called USA 247 by Folke Olsson for Dux. And you can also see a pendant lamp by Hans Bergström for Atelier Lyktan.
Many Swedish things,
yes. And in the kitchen, it's a dining table by Yngve Ekström called Kvarto. It's very rare. I haven't seen it live any time. And then, of course, the Myren chairs, the ant chairs by Arne Jacobsen for Fritz Hansen. And also here it's a lamp by Hans Bergström for Atelier Lyktan. It's called Struten.
Yeah, show it to me.
Yeah. And also in the kitchen, it's chairs by Hans J. Wägner, Hjärtestolen, the heart chair, and the matching table.
I like those.
And
that's a lot of pictures.
Yeah, that's a lot of pictures. It's a clean and very white interior, I would say.
Really?
And
the kitchen is underwhelming.
Yes, it is, but it's a lot of storage, and I think that's good.
It's ugly.
Yeah. And
Struten.
yeah. And I think the most striking thing here is actually the floors.
Yeah.
The glass tiles.
Totally covered with tiles.
Yeah, and it's a nice thing. I think that's something I could actually consider in a kitchen, for example. It's very beautiful.
How many tiles is that?
It's like a million
they're really
tiles.
Small. They're like
2 times 2 centimeters
2,
or something.
Okay.
So they're very small. And this is a legendary, but it's I mean, the furniture are spectacular. So that's just, you can look at the pictures just for the furniture, I think.
I like that the group stand like in the room and not against the wall.
Yeah, because a designer sofa is often as beautiful from the backside as from the front.
And from the side.
Yeah. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, it is what it is. Moving on.
In 1957, Arne Jacobsen designed a roundhouse for smokehouse owner Leo Henriksen in Sjællands Odde.
Yeah.
That was more Norwegian.
Sjællands Odde.
Yeah. In Denmark, of course. And it was a truly spectacular location, and it needed a spectacular building. The interior was innovative with a lot of challenges for the architect due to the round shape.
Yeah.
There was a sofa and easy chair in Arne Jacobsen's 3300 series with a rare black metal frame, and Grand Prix dining chairs. My favorite.
Yeah, with the wooden legs.
Yes, by Jacobsen himself.
And now let's take a look at the interior. Here are some pictures of it.
Totally round.
Yeah, it's round.
Cool.
It's a cool feature, but then you really need to furnish the middle of the room and not against the walls.
Yes, of course. And that's maybe the point.
Yeah. And also the freestanding bookshelf or display shelves. That's a cool feature, I think.
It is. That's very nice.
Yeah. And
in all of these, there's always just a rug under the group of furniture.
Yeah.
Not anywhere else.
Using it to mark, here is the seating area. Yeah. And that's also a kind of good thing. And I think you can borrow that if you want to do an interior.
I like rugs everywhere.
Yeah, I do too. But
you can do it like this.
And a lot of windows. But of course, if you live out in the countryside or even with the ocean next to the house, then you want to have like big windows.
Panorama.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep. I think that's a kind of cool house. Not a very practical house,
What's
perhaps.
This?
I'm not sure. It's something
hanging.
like
a Santa Claus.
Yes, perhaps.
It's something.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. And now let's take a look at the wonderful summer house of Anders Hostrup-Pedersen, who was the managing director of Georg Jensen. The house was designed by Finn Juhl, built in Rågeleje, located in the northern part of the Danish island Sjælland, and finished in 1962. And here it's a lot of furniture by Finn Juhl.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And you can see the FJ45 chairs and also the Japan table and chairs. And from the ceiling, a contrast lamp by Paul Henningsen is hanging. And I think interesting in the living room is the portrait called portrait of Yrsa by Wilhelm Lundström. It's kind of funny, I think.
It is, why?
Yeah. And in the kitchen, there's also furniture by Finn Juhl. It's the extendable table. But around the table, there's the Series 7 chairs by Arne Jacobsen, and also lamps by Poul Henningsen.
Show it.
Yes. And this is a very Scandinavian style house, I would say. It's wooden floors, and that's the beautiful thing here. And wooden walls, yeah.
And
then
like
brick wall, I would say, behind
Yeah,
the
it is.
portrait. Yeah.
Is this portrait
Yeah,
funny?
yeah, it is.
Why is it funny?
Yeah, it's just a strange thing to have this kind of grumpy lady on
That's
the wall.
very mean to her.
No, yeah.
Oh, that's a very long sofa to have it like
Yeah, that's
the whole length of the wall.
built for the house, I guess.
But is it really nice looking?
No, but I would say it's very Scandinavian. It's clean, it's light, and it's this living materials borrowed from the nature, like the wood and the stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just questioning the length of it.
The length of the sofa.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's weird because you have one group over here
And
with
that ends like there.
Yeah.
And then it still continues.
It's a bit strange, and you can have extremely many guests in the house.
I see many similarities to the other ones. So
yeah.
they're very mid-century, all of these.
Yeah, and this is the most, like, if you think of Scandinavian
Yeah.
style, this is like what you think about.
I agree.
Yeah.
A bit more paintings and
Yeah,
little fun things.
Finn Juhl loved the paintings,
Yeah, he
and
did.
he always used paintings in his interiors.
I like that.
Yeah, that's kind of fun, and I think the carpets are extremely necessary in an interior like this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on.
The summer house of Poul and Inger Henningsen was built in the old fishing community Gammel Skagen in the absolute northern part of Denmark. Henningsen drew a small house on commission for the Swedish construction company Myresjöhus in 1964. Myresjöhus wanted a small and cheap house suitable for mass production using prefabricated modules, and Henningsen delivered a drawing of an A-shaped construction with small windows and Eternit roofing. The first house was given to Henningsen as payment for the job, their summer house.
Yeah.
And the press loved the somewhat strange-looking building, but most of the locals in the area were far from thrilled, because it looked a bit
Strange and
weird.
decadent.
decadent.
Yeah.
Economically, the project was a failure, and only 3 houses were ever built.
Yeah.
But inside there was Contrast and PH5 by Henningsen himself.
Yeah.
Topan lamp by Van Panton. Wire cone chairs and table tea by Panton. Dining chairs by Arne Jacobsen. And safari chair Kangaroo
Yeah.
by Jack Renge for Nässjö Stolfabrik.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
No, that's quite strange because
It is.
all the other furniture were by Danish designers, so then we have this kind of unknown Swedish chair. But here is the interior.
Ooh,
Here's 2 pictures of it.
this I like.
Yeah, it's quite strange because the roof continues all the way down to the ground outside the house.
Yeah.
So it's very high
In the center.
Yeah.
It's a very long...
A cable for the
Yeah.
lamp, yeah. And then it's a lot of wood, of course.
a lot of wood.
But it's a typical summer house, I think.
I think it's the Panton things that I love the most, though.
Yeah, I think it's a brave move by Henningsen to use in this kind of... even though it's a modern house, it's also a traditional-looking house in one way.
Yeah, this staircase is very, like, traditional.
Yeah. And then you fill it with Van Panton Space Age furniture.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah, and I think it's a
Then it
funny
will be
house.
great. Yeah, it is very funny.
Yeah.
Good choice. Moving on.
Yeah, and the last example is a famous interior in Swedish design history, and it's the Villa of Harushine, located in the fancy Stockholm suburb of Danderyd. And few people outside Sweden have heard about Schein, but he was a business executive, writer, engineer, and often seen among celebrities in Sweden. And he became a major figure in the Swedish cultural scene. In recent years, the villa once again figured in Swedish media when it was set on fire by the new owner in an attempt of insurance fraud. But now let's take a look at the legendary interior as it once looked.
Did the owner succeed?
No, he was arrested and put in jail.
Yeah, that's good.
And you can see a lot of quite famous furniture. Of course, the ox chairs by Wegener.
Also my favorite.
Yeah.
I say my favorite
about
many things.
Yeah, and this was white leather ox chairs, and Harushine was often pictured in these chairs. So he must have loved these chairs. And the coffee table is also very special. It's by Egon Møller Nielsen, and the tabletop is spectacular.
Oh.
Yeah. And then you can see also, for example, the lounge chair by Charles and Ray Eames.
That's nice.
And the lamps by Henningsen and so on.
This kind of sideboard thing.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I've tried to find it.
It's like a Stockholm.
Yeah, I think it is a Stockholm silhouette on it.
I think it is.
And I think that's quite funny.
Gamla stan.
Yes, it's Old Town of Stockholm. Yeah.
And some booze.
A lot of booze. Yeah. And Harushine, I think.
And a window inside.
Yeah, that's a funny feature.
Yeah, that's really great.
And I think this is more of a funny interior, and it's more of a Swedish 1970s interior than the rest.
Later.
Yeah.
What kind of lamp is that?
Yeah, strange lamps, funny lamps, and of course this exclusive furniture, but just mixed with like not exclusive things and a lot of books.
I
and
like that.
A lot of things. So I think this is one of my. Yeah, I think this perhaps is my favorite
it's fun.
interior. Yeah.
I like fun.
Yeah.
You should always have fun.
A lot of these furniture were sold by the auction house Bukowski's earlier this year, so and they were quite expensive.
Not burned?
The new owner didn't buy the house with the furniture, luckily.
Okay.
Yeah. And this was some interiors, and I hope you were inspired by them.
Yeah.
And if you found the video inspiring,
please click thumbs up and subscribe.
And follow us on Instagram. We are called Scandinavian Design 101.
Yes, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.